One of the most powerful use cases with Console Assistant is its ability to go through and investigate issues across multiple systems, as well as investigating issues in your ticket queue and going through your request history. So basically what it can do is actually understand the nuance and capture that data in your requests, figure out the root cause of where those requests are coming from, and help you then automate it. So instead of building out a traditional, dashboard where I would capture high-level categorization data or data that a human has to manually label or enter, Console can do that all for you. So I can simply ask Console, what are the main drivers of support requests in the past 4 weeks? And so when I type that in, Console's going to go through, actually pull all of the request data in the past 4 weeks, and then look at the categories and break it down for me to understand. From there, I can actually, and I'll go through and actually ask it to look through this data a little bit more closely and understand the real drivers. So you'll see here, most of our requests are actually kind of not categorized. And so most of those requests are in that uncategorized bucket. From there, access requests make a big chunk, password resets, and so on, and kind of capture the long tail. So it'll break it down for me in a table. I can see the breakdown by channel, by department. So sales seems to be making a lot of these requests. And then it gives me some key takeaways. So instead of having to manually go through all of those uncategorized requests and try to understand what's going on, again, I can just ask Console to look through all of those tickets and figure it out. So I can say what makes up most of those uncategorized requests, drill down into them and help me understand. And so what Console is going to do here is actually go through every single request line by line and get the real kind of full picture of what is going on in my ITSM. And so in this case, it's going to go through, it's going to semantically categorize them and pull out some interesting, hopefully interesting data for me. All right. So it looks like a lot of these requests are laptop lockouts, some expense and equipment policy questions. This is a demo instance. We have a lot of testing and demo requests, a lot of access requests, and then everything else is kind of bucketed there. Again, I can actually ask it to continue to go through those requests, but the interesting one to me is this laptop lockout one. So I can actually ask Console now, can you help me write a playbook? Actually, just write me a playbook that handles laptop lockouts. And so what it's going to do, in order to automate these requests, it's going to understand what systems are connected, what kind of devices our users have, how we typically solve these problems. It's going to notice, it's going to look through our existing automation. So of course we do have some, locked out of laptop playbooks. What it's going to do is try and understand maybe where those playbooks are failing, where the existing requests aren't being captured by those automations, and come up with a plan and build this out with me. So you'll see here it asks me a couple of questions. Should I improve it or create a new one? I'm going to say, let's create a new one. It's going to ask what type of devices our employees use because it's seeing both. And let's just do a Mac for now. Which MDM do we want to pull? So we have multiple connected. Again, let's just, for this demo, we'll just use Jamf. And then should it also handle Okta account lockouts? That maybe doesn't make sense. So I'll just, submit no on that. And I'll click submit. And so what Console is going to do from here is take those answers and build out a plan for what that playbook might look like to go and help this user get back into their computer. So I'll hit build, after reviewing the plan. And what Console's going to do now is it'll jump into the playbook view and actually build out this automation directly in natural language. So as a quick refresher, Console does not we do not use code to build out these automations, and it's a very important call out. All automations are built in natural language. We have these things called playbooks. This is what the agent uses essentially as instructions and really guidance on how to solve these problems with these end users. And what you're going to see here is Console is assistants building these out in real time. A couple of these actions maybe don't make sense, and so it'll continue to work on it until the playbook works completely end to end. And so you'll see it's actually editing its own mistakes, fixing things. And once it's in a good spot, it'll say, okay, here you go. So it's giving me a quick update. everything looks good. I'm just going to accept those changes. And now we can actually review what it's doing, right? And this is one of the biggest benefits of these automations being written in natural language is I can actually just read exactly what it's going to do. So first it's going to ask the user, is it are you seeing the Mac OS login screen? Is there a File Vault preboot screen? It's going to look up the user's device in Jamf. If there's no computer, it's going to escalate it. If the user has multiple Macs, it'll actually ask which one they're having trouble with. Once the device is identified, we're going to grab the File Vault key. We're also going to unlock the user's account. Once it's successfully kind of retrieved, we're going to help them actually get back in by giving them instructions how to solve it. And if the issue persists, we're going to actually just escalate it to a human. So here it came up with its own kind of instructions for its, for the other agent to go and solve these requests directly in Slack or Teams without having to write any code, without really any instructions from me. It just understood from the context that my company exists in, which laptops need the most help, which integrations we have, and how all of that fits together, and built this playbook. So everything looks good here. I'm going to publish this, and then I'm going to jump into Slack and actually run this through. So you'll see actually, here we go. So it actually captured a duplicate. So this is another feature that we have where if you're going to publish two different versions of a playbook, we'll actually detect that for you and flag it so you don't get this playbook sprawl that exists in other systems. So just for this demo use case, I'm just going to publish it anyways. But in production, that becomes a really, really useful feature. So I've published this, and I'm going to jump into Slack and show you what it looks like on the end user side when they make this request. All right, now I'm back in Slack, and this is what the end user interacts with, right? So instead of going to a typical service catalog or ITSM portal, they just go to Slack and they can type in their problem. They can say, can't log into my computer, please help. And they're doing that, in this console app. And the first thing this console is going to do is it'll route that request to the right department. Then it'll hopefully find that playbook that we just generated and start working through that with the end user without having to loop in someone on the IT support team to get this user the help that they need. So we'll let this run for a bit. All right, so here we go. We can click into that. And it says, are you stuck because of a password issue? Is it something else? Are you also seeing File Vault disk unlock screen? I'll say, password issue. And once I type through that, again, it now knows, all right, for a password issue, I need to go and grab this user's File Vault key and kind of work through it, again, the same way that we defined in the playbook. And it's just going to understand what I'm saying, go and pull my device, grab the File Vault key, and it should return to me. All right, so what we'll see here is that console went and tried to grab the File Vault key, but in our instance, we've deemed that action to be very sensitive. And so if someone needs their File Vault key, they actually need to get it and do an Okta verification or any 2FA check before that actually goes through. And so you'll see I actually got a notification on my phone, so I'm going to hit yes, that's me. And once I verify that, it'll go back into console, and console will actually be able to go and grab that File Vault key and return it to the end user and get their issue resolved. And so that should come through in a second here. And there we go. So, your File Vault key comes back along with some instructions on how to use it to actually get back into your device. So there you go. That's pretty much the end-to-end flow where we basically went into console, asked it some questions about these, all of the requests that I'm seeing. We found some, nuanced requests that are kind of not getting categorized correctly. And then based on that, we generated a playbook that an end user can now use to get automatically resolved without any human involvement whatsoever. This allows your team to now go spend more time building more automations and improving systems for the rest of your organization instead of just doing mundane, repetitive, password reset type tasks every day.